I used to work on a construction site and I would call myself a construction worker. In those days I had to carry a lot of heavy material, often bricks and cement. At times, I also had to clean asphalt manually with a broom. One day, a little girl approached me and asked me why I sweated so much. I told her, it's because I have to work so hard, but she continued by asking me, why don't I do anything else? I replied, because I am only qualified for heavy labor. Suddenly my boss came and yelled at me. What are you doing? I am paying you to work, not to stand around. I replied, the girl was just asking me an innocent question. What did she ask you? Why I was sweating so much. Enough, he said, we are not a daycare center. Move it. The next day I didn't return to work. I tried to find something else. Eventually, I found a good-paying job cleaning sewers. The new job had one advantage, at least I didn't have to sweat that much. I was born in Dayton, Ohio, but to tell the truth, I never felt very comfortable there. Fortunately, I discovered different countries when I was still a teenager. My parents traveled a lot and we were lucky to be able to live in different countries. For I can remember Asia, especially Japan, has always fascinated me. Europe is interesting, but most countries are not easy to live in, although the culture and especially the food was always the best. When I got a little older I started to travel by myself. I drove to Mexico and traveled all the way down to Panama. These were of course more adventurous than ordinary travels. I can honestly say that travel is educating in many ways. You also learn different cultures and I got quite good at developing social skills. Most Americans travel only within their own country, and there is nothing wrong with that, but I feel that international experiences educate more and are good for the brain.
One fine sunny day in winter, a grasshopper was basking in the warm sun. But he was very hungry, as he had not eaten anything since last night. So, he looked about to find something to soothe his hunger. Suddenly, he saw a few ants carrying grains into their hole. He went up to the ants and asked humbly, "Can you, please, spare a few grains for me? I haven't eaten anything since yesterday. So, I am almost starving to death." One of the ants asked the grasshopper, "What were you doing the whole summer? Why didn't you store up the food for the winter season?" The grasshopper replied, "Truly speaking, I spent all the summer singing songs, and that's why I couldn't store anything." The ant chucked out a smile and remarked, "Then dance the winter away." The grasshopper pulled a long face and walked away. So we say, work is real worship.
There once was a boy who loved eating sweets. He always asked for sweets from his father. His father was a poor man. He could not always afford sweets for his son. But the little boy did not understand this, and demanded sweets all the time. The boy's father thought hard about how to stop the child asking for so many sweets. There was a very holy man living nearby at that time. The boy's father had an idea. He decided to take the boy to the great man who might be able to persuade the child to stop asking for sweets all the time. The boy and his father went along to the great man. The father said to him, "O great saint, could you ask my son to stop asking for sweets which I cannot afford?" The great man was in difficulty, because he liked sweets himself. How could he ask the boy to give up asking for sweets? The holy man told the father to bring his son back after 1 month. During that month, the holy man gave up eating sweets, and when the boy and his father returned after a month, the holy man said to the boy, "My dear child, will you stop asking for sweets which your father cannot afford to give you?" From then on, the boy stopped asking for sweets. The boy's father asked the saint, "Why did you not ask my son to give up asking for sweets when we came to you a month ago?" The saint replied, "How could I ask a boy to give up sweets when I loved sweets myself? In the last month I gave up eating sweets." A person's example is much more powerful than just his words. When we ask someone to do something, we must do it ourselves also. We should not ask others to do what we do not do ourselves. Always make sure that your actions and your words are same.
My dad and I heard that my uncle had won the lottery. The game is called 6 of 49, which means my uncle had to guess 6 correct numbers. We all think my uncle has become a millionaire. However, my dad explains that my uncle still has $2,000 of debt owed towards our family. We decided to visit my uncle. As he opens the door, he smells like alcohol. He tells us he never won the lottery, but that he had bragged about it in a bar. He just wanted to show off. My dad still demands his money. At the end of a long conversation, my uncle gives my dad his car. By doing that, he has paid his debts.
Marion and her husband Pierre live in Provence in the south of France, where they own a house and vineyards. Provence is famous for its picturesque landscapes and delicious wines. The couple inherited the large estate from their parents, and it allowed them to become independent winemakers. They enjoy their unique lifestyle and are eager to share it with others. They often invite tourists to their beautiful place to delve into the world of Provençal wine. After a stroll through the cellars with their century-old oak tuns, visitors enjoy tasting their great wines. There is also a food bar area, where they can have some cheese and homemade bread. Guests are also invited to walk through the vineyards and have a picnic in the fresh air. They don't have to bring their own meals, as Marion and Pierre supply everything. The hosts do their utmost to ensure their guests have an unforgettable day. They even hold a special cooking workshop for both adults and children to encourage them to learn more about provincial food culture. Marion's sister Jeanette is a pastry cook. She makes desserts, cakes, and chocolates. During the workshops, she inspires participants to experiment with different ingredients and create new flavors. Everyone has an opportunity to use their imagination and handcraft their own chocolate. Before leaving, a short visit to the little boutique is a must. It sells wines and delicacies so that tourists can take a bit of Provence home with them and treat their friends. Years ago, a farmer owned land along the Atlantic seacoast. He constantly advertised for hired hands. Most people were reluctant to work on farms along the Atlantic. They dreaded the awful storms that raged across the ocean, wreaking havoc on the buildings and crops. As the farmer interviewed applicants for the job, he received a steady stream of refusals. Finally, a short, thin man, well past middle age, approached the farmer. "Are you a good farmhand?" the farmer asked him. "Well, I can sleep when the wind blows," answered the man. Although puzzled by this answer, the farmer, desperate for help, hired him. The little man worked well around the farm, busy from dawn to dusk, and the farmer felt satisfied with the man's work. Then one night the wind howled loudly in from offshore. Jumping out of bed, the farmer grabbed a lantern and rushed next door to the hired hand's sleeping quarters. He shook the little man and yelled, "Get up! A storm is coming. Tie things down before they blow away." The little man rolled over in bed and said firmly, "No, sir. I told you, I can sleep when the wind blows." Enraged by the response, the farmer was tempted to fire him on the spot. Instead, he hurried outside to prepare for the storm. To his amazement, he discovered that all of the haystacks had been covered with tarpaulins. The cows were in the barn, the chickens were in the coops, and the doors were barred. The shutters were tightly secured. Everything was tied down. Nothing could blow away. The farmer then understood what his hired hand meant, so he returned to his bed to also sleep while the wind blew. When you're prepared, spiritually, mentally, and physically, you have nothing to fear. Can you sleep when the wind blows through your life? The hired hand in the story was able to sleep because he had secured the farm against the storm. We with faith secure ourselves against the storms of life by putting our trust in the God, our prophet, peace be upon him, and his Elul Bayat. We don't need to understand, and we just need to hold his hand to be secure in the midst of the storms.
I sit with several students in a cafe in Paris. We have an international meeting. Americans, French, and Germans sit at a table and discuss. The American asks, "What does culture mean in this country?" I say, that term can mean a lot. Literature, theater, art, or even the way we speak, including the way you conduct yourself. Does it also include behavior? Asks the American. Behavior in general terms, probably is a part of it, says the German. So that means when I behave I have culture, asked the American smiling. More or less I reply, but education and manners would also describe culture. Can one say in France as well that I have culture, and you do not, asks the American. No, that would be arrogant, I assert.
A man came home from work late, tired and irritated, to find his 5-year-old son waiting for him at the door. Son, Daddy, may I ask you a question? Dad, yeah, sure, what it is, replied the man. Son, Daddy, how much do you make an hour? Dad, that's none of your business. Why do you ask such a thing? The man said angrily. Son, I just want to know. Please tell me, how much do you make an hour? Dad, if you must know, I make $20 an hour. Oh, the little boy replied, with his head down. Looking up, he said, Daddy, may I please borrow $10? The father was furious. If the only reason you ask that is so you can borrow some money to buy a silly toy or some other nonsense, then you march yourself straight to your room and go to bed. Think about why you are being so selfish. I work hard every day for such this childish behavior. The little boy quietly went to his room and shut the door. The man sat down and started to get even angrier about the little boy's questions. How dare he ask such questions only to get some money? After about an hour or so, the man had calmed down, and started to think, maybe there was something he really needed to buy with that $10 and he really didn't ask for money very often. The man went to the door of the little boy's room and opened the door. Are you asleep, son? He asked. No, Daddy, I'm awake, replied the boy. I've been thinking, maybe I was too hard on you earlier, said the man. It's been a long day and I took out my aggravation on you. Here's the $10 you asked for. The little boy sat straight up, smiling. Oh, thank you, Daddy, he yelled. Then, reaching under his pillow, he pulled out some crumpled up bills. The man, seeing that the boy already had money, started to get angry again. The little boy slowly counted out his money, and then looked up at his father. Why do you want more money if you already have some? The father grumbled. Because I didn't have enough, but now I do, the little boy replied. Daddy, I have $20 now. Can I buy an hour of your time? Please come home early tomorrow. I would like to have dinner with you. Share this story with someone you like. But even better, share $20 worth of time with someone you love. It's just a short reminder to all of you working so hard in life. We should not let time slip through our fingers without having spent some time with those who really matter to us, those close to our hearts. If we die tomorrow, the company that we are working for could easily replace us in a matter of days. But the family and friends we leave behind will feel the loss for the rest of their lives. And come to think of it, we pour ourselves more into work than to our family. An unwise investment indeed. So what is the moral of the story? Don't work too hard, and you know what's the full word of family. Family equals F, other, A, N D, M, other, 1, L, O V, Y, O U. Amina has an exciting plan for the upcoming weekend. Next Saturday, she will be taking the train to visit her grandparents in a charming little town. The agenda for the visit includes a trip to the local market to select fresh vegetables. Afterward, Amina and her grandparents will head back to their kitchen to cook a special family recipe that's been passed down for generations. Amina eagerly awaits the journey, and the thought of quality time with her grandparents warms her heart. The weekend ahead promises to be filled with cherished moments and delicious homemade food. Tom and Emma are eagerly preparing for a fun-filled weekend activity. They've been looking forward to this for weeks. Currently, they are in the kitchen, making delicious sandwiches and packing a picnic basket with their favorite treats. You can feel their excitement as they fill a cool box with refreshing drinks and a variety of snacks. The plan is to spend the entire day at a nearby park. They have also invited some close friends to join them and enjoy a beautiful day outdoors. Tom and Emma have even brought along a frisbee and a soccer ball for some friendly games. As they load their car with all the picnic essentials, they can't help but smile, looking forward to a day of laughter, good food, and memorable moments. It is winter now. The weather is cold. It is snowing. It is windy and cloudy. The strong wind is blowing. It is 5 degrees. Many people go to the mountains. They are snowboarding or skiing now. This is Nick's dog Rex. They are walking and playing in the yard now. Nick is throwing the stick and Rex is running to catch it. Rex is enjoying the game very much. Nick likes summer, when it is warm or even hot. He likes sunny days, when it is not raining. When the sky is blue, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, Nick always has a good mood. Nick and his wife Alice usually go to the seaside in summer. There are always many people on the beach. Look! People are swimming in the sea and sunbathing. Some of them are surfing. Others are playing volleyball. Everyone is having fun and enjoying the lovely weather. A woman came out of her house and saw 3 old men with long white beards sitting in her front yard. She did not recognize them. She said, "I don't think I know you, but you must be hungry. Please come in and have something to eat." "Is the man of the house home?" they asked. "No," she replied. "He's out." "Then we cannot come in," they replied. In the evening when her husband came home, she told him what had happened. "Go tell them I am home and invite them in." The woman went out and invited the men in. "We do not go into a house together," they replied. "Why is that?" she asked. One of the old men explained, "His name is Wealth," he said pointing to one of his friends, and said pointing to another one, "He is Success, and I am Love." Then he added, "Now go in and discuss with your husband which one of us you want in your home." The woman went in and told her husband what was said. Her husband was overjoyed. "How nice," he said. "Since that is the case, let us invite Wealth. Let him come and fill our home with wealth." His wife disagreed. "My dear, why don't we invite Success?" Their daughter-in-law was listening from the other corner of the house. She jumped in with her own suggestion, "Would it not be better to invite Love? Our home will then be filled with love." "Let us heed our daughter-in-law's advice," said the husband to his wife. "Go out and invite Love to be our guest." The woman went out and asked the 3 old men, "Which one of you is Love? Please come in and be our guest." Love got up and started walking toward the house. The other 2 also got up and followed him. Surprised, the lady asked Wealth and Success, "I only invited Love, why are you coming in?" The old men replied together, "If you had invited Wealth or Success, the other 2 of us would have stayed out, but since you invited Love, wherever he goes, we go with him. Wherever there is love, there is also wealth and success." Sometimes your biggest weakness can become your biggest strength. Take, for example, the story of one 10-year-old boy who decided to study judo despite the fact that he had lost his left arm in a devastating car accident. The boy began lessons with an old Japanese judo master sensei. The boy was doing well, so he couldn't understand why, after 3 months of training, the master had taught him only one move. "Sensei," the boy finally said, "shouldn't I be learning more moves? This is the only move you know, but this is the only move you'll ever need to know," the sensei replied. Not quite understanding, but believing in his teacher, the boy kept training. Several months later, the sensei took the boy to his first tournament. Surprising himself, the boy easily won his first 2 matches. The third match proved to be more difficult, but after some time, his opponent became impatient and charged. The boy deftly used his one move to win the match. Still amazed by his success, the boy was now in the finals. This time, his opponent was bigger, stronger, and more experienced. For a while, the boy appeared to be overmatched. Concerned that the boy might get hurt, the referee called a timeout. He was about to stop the match when the sensei intervened. "No," the sensei insisted, "let him continue." Soon after the match resumed, his opponent made a critical mistake. He dropped his guard. Instantly, the boy used his move to pin him. The boy had won the match and the tournament. He was the champion. On the way home, the boy and sensei reviewed every move in each and every match. Then the boy summoned the courage to ask what was really on his mind. "Sensei, how did I win the tournament with only one move?" "You won for 2 reasons, the sensei answered. "First, you've almost mastered one of the most difficult throws in all of judo. And second, The only known defense for that move is for your opponent to grab your left arm. The boy's biggest weakness had become his biggest strength.
Wash your hands often. Wash your hands 10 times a day. Clean hands fight germs. Clean hands look good. Clean hands smell good. Everything you touch has germs. Money has germs. Germs live on money for days. Paper money is dirty. Metal money is dirty. Folding money is dirty. Coins are dirty. Everyone touches money. Sick people touch money. Wash your hands after you touch money. Door handles are dirty. Germs live on door handles for weeks. Germs love door handles. Everyone touches door handles. Sick people touch door handles. Wash your hands after you touch door handles. People are dirty. People have germs. Germs love people. Germs live on people for months. Wash your hands after you touch other people. Wash your hands after you hug other people. Wash your hands after you shake hands with other people. Wash your hands, and wash some more. You can't wash your hands too often.
A young and successful executive was traveling down a neighborhood street, going a bit too fast in his new Jaguar. He was watching for kids darting out from between parked cars, and slowed down when he thought he saw something. As his car passed, no children appeared. Instead, a brick smashed into the Jag's side door. He slammed on the brakes and drove the Jag back to the spot where the brick had been thrown. The angry driver then jumped out of the car, grabbed the nearest kid and pushed him up against a parked car, shouting, "What was that all about, and who are you? Just what the heck are you doing? That's a new car, and that brick you threw is going to cost a lot of money. Why did you do it?" The young boy was apologetic. "Please, mister, please, I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do," he pleaded. "I threw the brick because no one else would stop." With tears dripping down his face and off his chin, the youth pointed to a spot just around a parked car. "It's my brother," he said. "He rolled off the curb and fell out of his wheelchair, and I can't lift him up." Now sobbing, the boy asked the stunned executive, "Would you please help me get him back into his wheelchair? He's hurt, and he's too heavy for me." Moved beyond words, the driver tried to swallow the rapidly swelling lump in his throat. He hurriedly lifted the handicapped boy back into the wheelchair, then took out his fancy handkerchief and dabbed at the fresh scrapes and cuts. A quick look told him everything was going to be okay. "Thank you, and may God bless you," the grateful child told the stranger. Too shook up for words, the man simply watched the little boy push his wheelchair-bound brother down the sidewalk toward their home. It was a long, slow walk back to the Jaguar. The damage was very noticeable, but the driver never bothered to repair the dented side door. He kept the dent there to remind him of this message: don't go through life so fast that someone has to throw a brick at you to get your attention. God whispers in our souls and speaks to our hearts. Sometimes when we don't have time to listen, He has to throw a brick at us. It's our choice. Listen to the whisper, or wait for the brick.